I'm just a boy. I got my vices, I got my passions, got my weaknesses, my strengths, my fears, my loathings. I mean, I just faced one of them today, so. Okay. One of my biggest fears is filming myself, even though there's no reason to be afraid, I guess. Basically, I have been doing art since I emerged from the womb, of course. I'm trying to make stuff that's a little bit more true to me. We'll see how that goes. I have my personal Instagram that is supposed to be my artist's profile. And then I have my business page, which is basically portraits, brands, festivals, events, DJs. Little pieces of content that, you know, the algorithmic Silicon Valley machine wants me to make. We're just playing the game here. This is a good year to keep the momentum, folks. I'm filming on this little digital camera from Walmart that claims to be, you know, as good as the ones that all those Instagram baddies are using. It is not that. It is not that. Now I'm going to my coffee shop. It's hard for me to get work done anywhere other than this coffee shop. You know, I can't get work done at home with the ghosts of my middle school self and the ghosts of my pandemic self floating around me. So I need my third space. You got work, you got home, and you got your third space. I moved back here. Do I dox myself? I don't know. Massachusetts. I'm really in a bad place right now. Not mentally, just Massachusetts. For now, for the past year. Last year I worked a lot and I had a great year and I made a lot of friends, and I shout out, you know, all my East Coast people. I love you so much. Since it's cold and there's snow and dirt everywhere, this is a good time for me to do less in the world and do more in the metaverse. Ooh. Oh, ow, sorry, I dropped. I don't have a tripod for you, so you're just sitting here on the side, is wedged in. You know, sometimes you just need some change in your business, in your advertising. So here I am speaking my dreams into the world, for the world to take and crunch and digest and spit at me all at once. Yeah, this is really cringy, but you know, once I hear myself speaking more, I think it'll be good, because I know that I'm a great writer. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts in my head that need to be spoken. Last year I started journaling, which I don't love that term because I feel like it's super Western white girl vibes. Like, write in your journal and do a downward dog, everything will be okay. So I like to say I started writing. Yeah, I documented kind of my whole year last year, which was really cool, and a lot of it was based on like the cycles of the moon, which I now fully believe in, because every time there's a new moon, excuse me, every time there's a new moon, I feel a little odd. Every time there's a waning moon, I feel like I want to jump off of the pyramids of Giza.
Science rules.
Just kidding. This is not a cry for help. Gratitude is the attitude, okay? Yeah, I'm documenting my creative process, I guess. And people always ask me, why don't I just become an influencer? I'm like, I don't want to really influence anyone. The only thing I want to influence people to do is like create shit. If you say you're not an artist, it's because you don't do it. Oh, I'm so bad at drawing, but you don't draw, you know? And not everything has to be shared, but also sharing your process is kind of the biggest thing you can do. If you're not afraid to show up as not the best and not compare yourself, then how are you ever gonna get up there with the big dogs, you know? And I think a lot of people look at my work and they think it's great, and I know it's great because I love it. But I've also made a lot of awful shit, and I probably still share it. And maybe you hate everything I do. If that's the case, then the unfollow button is there as well. Once I actually look back at these videos, I will have a better idea of how to edit them. Oh. As I was saying, I'm just gonna fucking hold this right here, okay? Once I look back at my videos, I'll have a better idea how to edit them. I've done music videos, documentaries, shorts, interviews, all pertaining to the music world and the art world. And then short form I edit, but a lot of time it doesn't feel true to me because I want to make things that make people think about issues and concepts and identities, but also be my own artist. You're probably like, oh no, Parker's gonna make a fool of himself, filming himself. Yeah, damn right, mamacita. Out here doing the thing.
3 hours later.
Yeah, I just had a meeting about running ads. The meeting went well, but I also don't have the money to pay someone else to do all my work for me. You know, I have 3 projects coming up this month, trying to turn my passions into a business, which is not the only reason I do this, of course. I have goals outside of making money from other businesses off of content. I want to be able to have the resources to create more things that I want to see exist in the world. And there's a lot of things I want to see exist in the world other than, you know, making a food video for a pizza parlor. I want to make studio photo shoots that are conceptual with makeup teams, design teams, stylists. I want my work to be its own entity, but I also want clients. You know, I really want to just have my own studio and have people hire me with, I guess, a product or a deliverable in mind, but they hire me because they like my work. Because I'm not just a business owner, I'm an artist. So it's all very doable, you know, and I've already done a fair amount of it. And I've taken a fair amount of steps to get there. You have to look back and acknowledge your own progress because humans are always wanting more. Once you get something, then where do you go after that? You just want more and more and more and more. But I do. I want more, so. Yeah, I loved the documentary space. In college, I took a class where I made a video about homeless life. My professor told me that it was kind of advanced and difficult to do. Most people were partnering up with other people and I just did it on my own. I interviewed a few homeless people. I didn't really release it because there's also an essence of like, you're filming this, so you're like trying to like stroke yourself by making the project. It's not what I was doing at all, but it's not really a piece that I like share publicly. And then I once interviewed a street artist in Barcelona.
Most street artists have had the whole background of being a graffiti artist. Like they start with tags, move on to bigger letters, and they start at 14, and it's a way of them to have their little community, friends, and activities and stuff.
He's mostly like a public muralist or street artist or a vandal. You know, there's many words depending how you look at it.
I started at 31 years old, going into the streets and doing like vandalizing the city. With a friend of mine that was 33 years old, so that we were like grandfathers in the streets.
He was doing a mural about refugee life and the journey of a refugee and how these crises are started and the politics behind it. Even when people are coming to our country willingly, not because they're fleeing anything, you know, we seem to turn it into an us versus them scenario.
So they arrive to the new land of refuge, and what do they find? Fence, barbed wire fence. The boys in this picture are looking past the fence into the country that they want to get into.
Yeah, that was a personal project. I really learned a lot from him.
There you have a protest. In this case, the protest is protesting that we don't let help the refugees come in. But at the same time, the piece peace not war protest is being responded by riot police and as you can see on the back of the jacket, riot starter. There's a lot of cases where, you know, they antagonize groups of people protesting peacefully to be more aggressive so that they can dismantle it by force.
That's where the arm of the media will come in. It's easy to sit on the couch and look at your screen and be told what to think. These people are rioting and they're this and they're that. It doesn't always start as a riot. Actually, rarely it does. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's good to see a lot of people learning about how things actually happen or going to a protest and feeling that real sense of community and real patriotism. You know, if you were attacked when you were speaking up for something that you believe in, what would you do? There's a lot of layers to all of that. It's all a psychological dance. In the end, the artists are the ones who, you know, reflect the culture back to itself. Ooh, look at the sunshine. If you look at the artists who lived in the culture, that's where you'll get the best answers. A lot of my background came from street artists and activism artists and artists who begun in the underground. And of course, when I was younger, I learned about Warhol and Basquiat and Keith Haring. So that was kind of my start. But then I had the chance to study some of these more advanced concepts as I got older through like research and art and projects and talking to people and participating in my civic duty of civil disobedience. That documentary and interview I did with that guy has informed me more in today's us versus them dialogue. Yeah, I usually like kind of take a moment when something tragic happens. I express my processing of this stuff through my work. Okay, well, some more ramblings, but this is good because I'm kind of putting words out there in the world. A lot of this probably won't even make it on the edit. This is what I look like when I clean myself. I think that online there's this unspoken judgment. We all want to know everything and we all want to seem like we have the answers. If you look at the artists who lived in the culture, that's where you'll get the best answers. But yeah, I'm not trying to act like I know everything, because I think that we should all just assume that we know nothing. You know, even people who are experts in things, or, I mean, I'm a photographer, I do video, I have a lot of knowledge, I've done it for 10 years. But the thought of preaching like I'm an expert in the matter feels interesting, because I think that I'm always going to be a student of this life. And maybe my mind will change, and the way that I do things is different than the way that the next person does things, is the way that's different from the person next to them does things. And I don't have all the technical skills to be preaching the right way, but I can talk about my way. Being vulnerable and expressing yourself and your words and your viewpoints is even more important now more than ever. Yeah, so I'm just, again, this is all for me. There's not really any end goal here. Camera's gonna fall when I take this turn. Coming! Okay, the camera fell. I didn't crash my car. Yeah, so anyways, I don't know shit, okay?
I keep trying to tell you, you can't keep me on a leash. No matter how hard you train me, I'll do what I want in the end.